Well, good Wednesday morning, friends. Mark Holmes here, of course, with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. So let's get open for business here, and let's wake up those football gods here. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness. You know what's really great? It is really freaking great that we have a taste. We get a taste. We just kind of get to, drool a little bit here as we get ready for OTAs. Each week we got a couple of practices on the field. We get the players out there. We get little clips of guys doing some stuff. We get hints of who's going to be playing where and so on. And we have so many young players out there that we look forward to being the next generation. The thing that's crazy is I think we're looking maybe in the wrong place at our young players. So here's the thing. If we get 2 or 3 guys that make an impact from this year's draft, that's going to be great. That's what you hope for. But see, we're missing the point of where we are with the guys that we drafted last year. See, this is where the potential for really to have game changers really is. See, last year, going into the season, Diggs was good. We looked at Diggs, going into the season. Yeah, he had, the 4 interceptions and stuff. And, he came on the second half of the season and looked really good. But we really didn't know that he was going to get 11 interceptions and be as good as he was. And forget this bull crap that they give you as far as the Cowboys, that he sucks and gave up all these yards. A lot of those yards were also given up during, as they always talk about, garbage time. Yeah, garbage time. There is an opposite side besides Dak Prescott throwing football in games that they say are garbage time. When we were destroying the Eagles, for example, 41-21, Jalen Hurts had 332 yards, but they were blown out. They were empty calories, as, Shannon Sharp will say. So the defense basically said, we're going to keep everything in front of us. So be that as it may, you look at how he went from being a rookie the next year. And we could be looking at some guys that could be like that as well. You have players that you don't think they're going to do much. See, when we brought in Keanu O'Neal, when we brought in Malik Hooker, we didn't look and say, Jaron Curse oh man, we got Jaron Curse. We looked and we said, man, Keanu O'Neal, look at those years. Man, 1 year he had all those interceptions and stuff. He's been a beast. We looked at Malik Hooker and said, man, that guy is great and everything else, right? The guy that was overlooked was Jaron Curse. But Jaron was the one who really stepped up, and it stepped up to the point we say, Donovan Wilson, who? Donovan Wilson? Who? So don't discount the guys that came in last year, because we can have a guy like OC, and I'm going to go into some more details of some of these guys. A guy like OC, who, when we think of DeMarcus Lawrence's first year as a rookie, he had 2 sacks actually in the playoffs against the Detroit Lions. Beyond that, there wasn't a whole lot there. The next year, I think he had 7 or 8 sacks, and you said, okay, this guy's pretty good. The third year, he was suspended for 4 games for PEDs, coming off of back surgery, and then you started thinking, is this guy going to be a bust? And then he came through with 14 and a half sacks, and it was like, whoa. So we could be looking at a guy like OC, who right now we're thinking about John Ridgeway, we're thinking about Sam Williams. Those are the guys that you think about. Man, those guys are going to be, the young guys. But it might be the OC in Digazua that steps up and becomes the guy out of nowhere, the Diggs of this season, the Jaron Curse, so to speak, guy that you weren't thinking about and overlooked that all of a sudden becomes a great player. Because, see, you're not a great player until you become a great player. And sometimes the pedigree, the draft position, and those things are irrelevant to the guy that's going to become great. We have a guy like Golston, an edge rusher. He could end up taking a second step. You could look at a guy, give you another great example when you look at the offensive side of the ball. Terrence Steele, who was an undrafted rookie free agent, that when we signed him, nobody thought he was going to be jack. And then when he was forced to actually play the year before, people wanted to throw him off the bus. And now he made La'el Collins replaceable. So don't get stuck on the big name guys that we've lost in the Connor Williams, the La'el Collins and stuff. Look forward for those guys who may be taking that second-year step up. That's where you really have a lot that we'll end up getting. Now, of course, we are hearing the rumors, of course. Rumors about Deebo Samuels, who is not at training camp, of course, okay? He's not there for volunteer workouts. He did the, I'm not coming back, and stuff. But we know the 49ers aren't going to let him go, at least not cheap. Of course, there's the pictures from the other night of Deebo and Dak being together. I'm sure if you're the 49ers, you definitely don't like seeing this stuff. But let's listen to what this morning's Get Up has to actually say about that situation here and see, is there any meat on the bones?
Sound. Check out these pictures. Samuel hanging with Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott, as well as Cowboys wideout CeeDee Lamb. San Francisco, of course, beat Dallas in the playoffs, but it feels like love is blossoming between these guys. Look at all those hard eyes going on. Are they all happy? Think of this. Is Deebo hanging out with the Cowboys something or nothing, or is love blossoming?
Is love blossoming?
Listen, if I'm Dak, I would have hard eyes too looking at Deebo. I think if you're the 49ers, you're looking at this as this is nothing because you didn't expect him to be at voluntary OTAs. This isn't a surprise. But from the outside looking in, the optics just aren't good because this guy has said he's unhappy, whether it be with his role or the contract. He clearly wants to get paid, and whatever tensions exist in San Francisco, they haven't yet been put to rest. So until that happens, the speculation about Deebo's future is going to exist, and the Dallas Cowboys, we know, they always could use some weapons.
Okay, now we know San Fran's probably saying, look, it's just pictures, whatever. They're at a game, who cares? You think there's something to it?
I think there's something to it. We gotta acknowledge that he was there for Game 3, Dubs, Mavs, so that's a part of that whole equation. But we also have to acknowledge that Deebo Samuel liked a tweet with him in the Cowboys uniform earlier this offseason. And so I can't say that it's outside of the realm of possibility that Deebo might try to force his way out of San Francisco and want to land in with the Dallas Cowboys. And if you look at where the Cowboys are at right now, that's a team that could absolutely use him. You're talking about a team that only had 5 squads with fewer broken tackles on run plays. And we know how Deebo Samuels factors into the run game, but also in terms of being a yak monster yards after catch. So
could it be, guys? Could it happen?
Overnight became deficient in terms of weaponry. So Deebo Samuel, Dallas Cowboys, seems like it'd be a perfect fit. I can't imagine that Kyle Shanahan would be thrilled about trading him to Dallas, though.
No, I don't think he likes seeing those pictures either. Booker, I'll give you the final word.
We've reached that point in the offseason where we are breaking down pictures at a basketball game. Lord help us. Here's the thing I'll say.
Come on, Bud.
They couldn't even afford Amari Cooper. So how are they going to afford Deebo Samuel? They had to trade away Amari Cooper because he was making too much money. So if we're going to look at this and realistically try to break it down and use some type of football analysis, let's understand, yeah, everyone would love Deebo Samuel, but he's not going to be able to fit under the salary cap. And maybe tomorrow I'm going to take a picture somewhere where we can break it down. Man, why was Boog at such and such's house? Let's break it down. Like, come on. Like, it's almost June, It's time for us to really enjoy the
Oh,
summer
boy.
and get rejuvenated and come back for training camp.
All right, there you go. We're in the midst of silly season. We can't help ourselves, Booger, but I feel you, Ben. All right, well.
We are in the midst of NFL silly season, and those rumors will not die. But let's be real here. Let's go ahead and get back on track here. Let's think about what the Cowboys did last year as far as free agency goes. And this will kind of lead you where the Cowboys are right now. The Cowboys are risk averse now. You know, they have the big moves that you can look at since 2010 would be Brandon Carr as a free agent, Greg Hardy, and the trade, of course, for Amari Cooper. That's it. Free agency-wise last year, you could arguably say the Cowboys did sign the biggest free agent out there, being Dak Prescott, to the long-term deal. But let's look at the moves that the Cowboys actually did. They re-signed Jordan Lewis. They ended up bringing in Keanu Neal. They ended up signing Brent Urban, Terrell Basham, Carlos Watkins, and Ty Nsekhe. That's the moves. Oh, and Jaron Kearse, which ended up being the best move right there that they made. That's it. The Cowboys aren't going to make major moves. They just won't. And we're at the point where, you know, Stephen Jones will tell you that player acquisition is a 365-day-a-year job, and we're always looking to get better. We're always looking to get better, but we're not looking to spend any money to get better. That's a big difference right there. It's a major difference. We're looking to get better, but we're not willing to spend the money to do that. And see, there's a thing called scared money don't make no money. And if you can look at it and say Jerry Jones wasn't scared when he bought the Dallas Cowboys as a fixer-upper. He made money on it. But he's scared to spend money to try and make this team that Super Bowl team. And we know they're partially right. You can't build a team on back of free agents. You still have to have draft capital. You still have to be able to draft. But see, herein lies the problem. When you bring in Keanu Neal and say, we're going to take a safety and make him a linebacker and make him a starter, okay, coming off of an injury. When you bring journeyman defensive linemen in that actually didn't do too bad. I mean, Carlos Watkins and Terrell Basham are holding over. Brett Urban played well until he got injured. And when you bring in backups that are 36-year-old, washed up offensive tackles, and you lose a Tyron Smith, you don't have the bullets in the gun to be shooting for a Super Bowl. You just don't. And that's the thing that we have to get beyond. The Cowboys have $13.3 million today, and come next week this time, they will have $23 million. Will they spend it on some free? No, they won't. They won't. So our only hope is that we end up getting another Micah Parsons like Sam Williams in the draft that boosts us, and that we end up getting a guy like Osi and Digazua that has the major turnaround like Diggs did last year. So that's where we are. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. And I'm going to go ahead, get to work. And, of course, later on we'll be teasing you with some of the OTA stuff that's going on. I'm Mark Holmes, and, well, I appreciate each and every one of you. You know how we roll.
Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe for the Sports Report.